we can't even measure. And so they, NERC now said, look, okay, we'll give the discos a timeline with which they have to meter all consumers. And then if you don't do that, then there will be sanctions. Isn't that part of the equation?
It could be, but the NEC should take responsibility for that. I remembered very correctly because I was part of the metering panel. And we warned NEC, they're going to sell all these assets, especially the discos. What is the policy for prepaid meter? Up till now, we don't have a policy. What are the specifications for So what is happening is that the discos went into bidding without having a clear idea the cost of prepaid meter. You understand? I remember we were all summoned to Abuja. Help us establish the specifications for installation, for the thing and things like that, because otherwise we would be a dumping ground. Now, by the time it was done, the assets have been sold. And each disco has mentally their own notion of how to install prepaid meter. Some were going to continue with the old one they brought in, which were not very good. Some were going to look for a cheap one that will mess up everybody. So, and I think by the time NEC was now saying, this is the space, it was too late.
One of the other things, Prof, is that there was I think it was Benin Disco, while the residents protested saying, look, we don't have light as much as we ought to, yet we're having our bills come in regularly. And then the Disco said, look, generation is where the challenge is. We only distribute what we have. What do they do in that circumstance?
Well, yes, the disco can, because it's what they receive that they will sell. But it's not as simple as generation is the problem. It is the government policy. And I will explain to you. On February 2nd, we had the largest generation sent on the grid. When you look at the breakdown of that energy generated, about 25% of that couldn't have been added because of gas constraint. That's what NCC says. And when you look at that, and we are talking about additional 1,000 megawatts that were not able to be sent on the network because of gas constraint. And it brings me back to the issue of government policy with regards to gas, not just pricing, it's assets. For example, we are lucky today that the NIPP plants, most of them have been commissioned, and we are being supplied at the mercy and grace of those plants. Not the ones that were privatized, the old NEPA assets. So, and when you look at the components that were starved of gas, they were also NIPP plants. They are not generating as much as can be evacuated. I mean, they are not evacuating as much as they are generating. So what that means is this. In terms of government policy, they should put emphasis on supplying all the gas requirements for all the NIPP plants. For example, Omotosho, I think it's about 2 kilometers from the gas line. For many years, up till now, it's not been connected. Olorunshogo is about 22 kilometers. And all these designs have been done many years ago. So, and there are a number of things like that. If we focus our attention on getting the best out of what we have, we wouldn't have problem of gas, in addition to expanding the transmission network, which the design has been done during Obasanjo's time. All it takes is for successive government to continue to implement it so that the capacity of the transmission network will increase.
Prof, sorry to take you back to your table again. I'm looking at this table, and at the bottom, I'm not quite clear on, just how that table works. Yes, you see the average number of electricity supply hours per day, and then you also see how you've broken it down. If you rebalance the fixed charge over this number of hours, this is what your fixed charge should translate to, right? So you have the old energy charge, and then you have the new energy charge. The new energy charge was gotten with the addition of rebalanced fixed charge with old energy charge.
That's what rebalancing means.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying that we have not run away from removing the fixed charge. They have just deceived all of us. Merge it with the old energy charge.
They were a little clear on that. They said they were going to redistribute it on a pay-as-you-go basis. But at the bottom here, now when you come to the monthly bill for consumer A and B and C, and I don't quite understand how you arrived at those figures.
Yes, those figures were arrived at on the assumption that consumer A will consume not more than 300 units every month. Consumer B will not consume more than 500 units every month. Okay. Consumer C will not consume more than 1,000 units, and they fall into the categories of the R series consumers.
Because I'm looking at, 24 hours, for instance, now, if you come to where you find 24 hours power supply, I'm wondering how it is that consumer A still gets 4,212 naira as the bill. How does that happen?
Yeah, because you now multiply 300 units by the new energy tariff.
Okay.
After rebalancing.
It doesn't take into cognizance the fact that if you have a prepaid meter, if there is no electricity, your meter doesn't read.
No, your meter will read because it will have been calibrated to read the new tariff. Let's put it that way. It will pick up what you consume in terms of units of electricity times the rate. Instead of a fixed charge plus what you consume times the.
No, what I'm looking at, for instance, if I put 400 units on my meter, if there's no electricity, if it's stopped at 350, when the electricity comes back, it's still at 350 and begins to read from there. Isn't that what should work?
No, it depends. We are talking, a unit of electricity is 1 kilowatt hour. 1 kilowatt hour is 1,000 watt hours. It depends on your consumption for the digital reading to go from one step to another. It has to do with the units. If you have not consumed up to 1 kilowatt hour, it will not read, it will be static. But by the time you consume, and that's why I had to come up with the average consumption per month. If you look at your bill, compare it with what happened last month, you'll be able to say, this is what I consume every month. And you can see the category in which you belong out of those three. And then when you compare the table, you'll be able to say, okay, if I'm going to be paying this amount, which you are not disputing because it's cost reflective, then the DISCO has the responsibility to give me so many hours every day throughout the month. That's what the table has established.
So on this new increment now, would you say that the NERC and the DISCOs are not getting it right? Would you say it reflects what we actually need, the price at which you need to retain power so that there will be an incentive for production?
Yes, I agree with that. And the issue is, I don't know who their consultant has been. If you don't have a deep understanding, because for engineers like us, numbers have meanings. It's not just something you put there and say, suppose. No, they have meanings, just as I've explained to you. So, and that's why we're saying that the function of regulating the power sector is a technical function. It's not a legal function at all. Otherwise, you'll be looking without seeing. You'll be talking, echoing what people working with you are talking about. And most of these people, also, they are not very good because we never had the background in regulating. That is the truth.
All right, Prof. Thank you very much indeed. David Aderibigbe is a professor of mechanical engineering, University of Lagos. Thank you for your thoughts today.
Thank you very much.